Got it. So you'll
Got
send me
it.
the link.
I am now recording on my end, so I'll have this. When
send
we
it to
get
me,
through,
okay.
I'll have
Okay.
I will have the recording, and I'll be able to share my screen on all the different things that we're doing.
Okay.
So I turned the task stream list in yesterday, so hopefully we'll be right on time. I'll have everybody enrolled in task stream by next Thursday at our task stream session. We are going to look at it a little bit tonight, but we'll be in good shape.
Are you gonna wait until next week to talk about the competency folio?
Yep, I'm going to talk about task stream some tonight, but since their accounts haven't been purchased yet, I just turned those in to Wendy yesterday.
Okay.
And so I haven't heard back from her today. I suspect she'll get it done over the weekend.
Yeah, I knew it would be touch and go on it, and it always.
Well, it'll be ready for next week, which was why I had planned. You know, their original thought is that they were going to purchase them in purchasing, but that didn't happen. So Wendy will have to do it, and so, but it's not a problem. And I've already got as I'll show tonight, I've already got the DRFs built. I've already got the templates for the folio. All that's done. It's just simply as soon as she purchases the licenses, I'll just drop them right in. I've already got everything set up for them. It'll take less than an hour to do that. Once she gets that done, I just go in and put them in. I have to do it manually, but it doesn't take me that long. Once everything is built. Now the building part's the time consuming part, but I've already done that. So
okay.
Keeps me from loafing around in the summertime. Takes a couple of days to do that. So, but I get that done in July. As soon as summer school's over, I'm open to be able to do that. You can't be changing things, you know, in session. That's the thing about task stream. It's so aggravating.
Right.
You have to wait in between sessions to do stuff like that. But I had about 3 weeks to get that done, and so that wasn't a problem. All right. Do you know that if anybody is having any Blackboard issues?
Nobody has reported anything to me, and Dr. Revis, you're online. I don't think
I see Dr. Hamilton.
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't
Nothing at all.
Good.
Nothing.
That's the best news I've gotten all day.
I've not heard anything either.
Good. Nobody's having Blackboard access problems. You know, we always have 8 or 10 this time of year.
Yeah, all my students, I mean, they've been able to get their work in like they're supposed to. So
that's great. Again, I would remind them to avoid using Microsoft Edge. It's best to use Google Chrome, but if they can't do that, they can use Mozilla Firefox.
Yeah, and we've talked about that, and I think any of the work that's been submitted, I've not had any issues with it.
Well, can we just remind at this point too that when you upload, please upload in a Word document?
Yeah. Don't upload in PDFs. Don't upload in notes or whatever it is, pages that Apple uses. Make sure it's a Microsoft Word document.
And not Google Docs.
Yeah. That's another thing is we'll go ahead and welcome everybody and get started. Don't use shared docs or Google Docs or even shared Word documents. Make sure it is from a file with a docx extension. Make sure that when you upload work to Blackboard, that is in a separate document, not in a shared folder. Even because here's the thing, even if we can get to it in Blackboard, the evaluator cannot get to it in TaskStream. TaskStream is not compatible with any of those kind of linked documents. There's a reason why. It's a secure site. And it goes through, it has security on it, and it has turn it in, check in it, and all those things are built into TaskStream. That is a portfolio system for Department of Education in South Carolina and Department of Public Instruction in North Carolina. It's linked to their sites. It is a secure site. You cannot put anything that's shared. A Google Doc, you can't put a shared Word doc, you can't put anything that is shared into TaskStream. So you go ahead and make sure that you don't do that in Blackboard, because when we get done in Blackboard, when your document with that final evidence narrative, just like for the app cell, all 5 tasks are done, it's all graded, everything's good, it's been turned in, checked in Blackboard, and when your instructor and coach say, all right, move it to Blackboard for evaluation, it has to be that document. And if it's a shared document, it can't be opened in TaskStream. It'll let you upload it, but it kills it once it does. And then it's no good. Then your evaluator can't open it. Now, one of the things that we need to talk about tonight is uploading to TaskStream. You're not ready to upload anything to TaskStream, but TaskStream is a repository of your work that's final and graded. Now, we pre-graded along the way. That's what's happening is there's a state assessor going to assess it when it goes in. Now, if they can't get to it, that makes them mad as fire. They get paid to grade it one time. And if they go in and they can't pull it up, more than likely that's going to be reflected in your final grade. So don't do that. Also, the biggest issue that we have is putting the wrong file in. Make sure that when the last time that you save it, when it is done and it has all the required tasks, like for the app cell, that would be 5, you name it app cell final evidence narrative, final evidence narrative. That means it has all 5 tasks. Do not upload one that is missing a task. Do not upload one that is still in edit mode. They will send those back as well. So turn the edit mode off. Make sure that it is a final professional document when you get ready to take it to TaskStream. And so this is what TaskStream looks like. Let me share my screen. We'll go ahead and get started. Again, your accounts have not been purchased yet. They'll be purchased, and we'll cover this next week, but I want to make sure we'll spend some time this week because it influences what you do along the way. I don't like it when we get to time to start working in TaskStream uploading and you say, well, I did it this way because I didn't know different. Well, hopefully you will know differently. So when you sign into TaskStream, you will get a notification from Watermark. See this word right here? Watermark. That's who owns TaskStream. They will send you an email. That email is only good for 48 hours. Let me say that again. I will send out a notification as soon as I register you and put you into TaskStream. As soon as you purchase your account, I'll send you an email that says, be looking for the email from Watermark, where you go into that email and you establish your account. She will have you a username and password. If you want to change either one of those, I would recommend you don't. If you change your username and password that is assigned to you by Miss Turbyfield, the licensure / TaskStream person, she will assign you a username and password. If you change from that, she won't know what it is. I won't know what it is. And if you get locked out of your account, we can't help you. That would be a $150 mistake. You'll have to have another account. I would not do that if I were you. Just a word to the wise. But when you get that email, you'll establish your account. And when you go into TaskStream, it's going to look much like this. And it's going to say work on a program. Now you're only going to have one DRF. DRF stands for direct response folio. That's where your work goes in TaskStream. You're only going to have one. Unless you have multiple accounts with Gardner Webb, you're only going to have one. And it's either going to say MSA 12-month program fall 22 or MSA 20-month program fall 22. That's what it's going to say, one or the other. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the 12-month one right now. So when you open it up, this is what you owe us this semester in 601. You owe us the app cell, the app tell, a competency analysis. Now, that competency analysis is not done until you have completed both the app cell and app tell. The School of Ed dispositions, You can do those at any time. I would prefer that you wait until after you've done this, but if you wanted to do it the first day, that would be fine. It's simply a self-assessment of where you are dispositionally at this time in the program. But these are the 4 things that are due us in task stream this semester. Now, for you folks who are in the 20-month program, you're only due us the app sale this semester. That's the only difference it'll look like. And it shows for you 12-month people, next semester you'll be in 603. You'll owe us the OMA and the skip. You'll also get started on the cap, because in the summer, it's really hard to knock out both of these plus all these other things in the summer. But this is where you put your final work. There is no comments on this work. This is not a sandbox. This is for completed work that has been approved by your instructor and your coach to go to task stream for final evaluation. Now, if you get it returned to you, that means it was not proficient and you have to fix it. Very few of those do we have that goes through that, but that does happen from the time to time. Usually it's you put in a document that they can't read, you put in a Pages or some other word processor other than Word, you put in a PDF that won't open, that's locked. If you're going to put a PDF in the task stream, make sure that you don't put the version that's locked, and you got to have permission to open. So I wouldn't do that. Don't put in a shared Google folder or a Word shared. Again, shared won't open in task stream. Final work goes in here, your final app sale and app tell. You go in and do a competency analysis after you have completed those 2. We'll show you that later. And then you do your dispositional scores where you score yourself, and then your coach will score you as well. Now, these are the 6 evidences for those of you who are in the 20-month program. In 602, you'll do the app tell, and then you'll have 603, and then you'll have 604, and then 605. But you'll see each semester what you owe us. You'll owe us a final competency folio. We'll build it next week, takes 1 minute. You'll build a folio where you'll start collecting your artifacts along the way so that you'll have this wonderful digital portfolio at the web folio at the end of your program to share with prospective employers. It is a wonderful thing. You'll have that, and then you will have your internship log. Now, please, I get this happen multiple times every semester, and I've got to figure out a way to make this stop happening. What folks are doing is they come to their DRF portfolio, click on this, and they upload their semester log. Do not do that. This is for at the end of your program when you have all logs, whether you're in the 20-month program, which is 5 logs, 5 semesters, or you're in the 12-month program, 3 semesters, 3 logs. All of those go in, and when you click that submit button, that's the final submission. And if you don't have but 1 log there, it won't go well for you. Then I have to go in and explain to the assessors why you only had 1 log and don't have the required number of hours, get it sent back and fix it. Do not do that. Your internship log each semester goes inside of your competency folio, and we'll show you that later. And it's simply to have a repository, a place to keep it as we sign those each semester. So let's look at our log right quick. So you know that you have to document, and this is what a log looks like. You have to document at least 80 hours each semester. You document the date, what activity you did, what competency it aligns with. Now these 2 columns, competency and proof, those are optional columns. That's to help you. And proof is what do I have that proves that I did that? And you don't have to have proof for every one of these, but if you have something really good, that would be an artifact. But you are required to put the date, the activity, and the number of hours. Now, I always get this question. Well, I do bus duty every day for 30 minutes. Should I log that? No, just log it by the month. This month, I did 20 days, and so I did 10 hours of bus duty if I did 30 minutes a day. Just put, September, bus duty, 10 hours, and be done with it. Now, individual things like individual activities, you should put those individuals, but things like bus duty, the supervision stuff, that's an ongoing, occurring, you don't have to write it out every day. Just summarize it for the month or the semester. Either one is fine.
Dr. Lamb, they need to know we are looking for a diversity of activities there, though.
Exactly. As we go, and that's the next thing. And you say, well, what is a diversity of activities? Well, it's this list right here. We want to see all of these leadership opportunities. We want to see the most of that, 60%. We want to see 20% or 30% of technical knowledge, and only about 10% each of your semesters. We only want to see about 10% on BuzzFeed. You say, well, I do more than that, but you don't have to put it on your list. We want to see 60% on these leadership opportunities, 30% on the technical, and 10% on supervision. We want to see a diversity of activities. You don't want to be George and only have, everything just be busted. And then you say, well, I'm at a virtual school, or we're back online again. Here are your activities that you would do if your school is virtual again. Again, thanks to Dr. Hamilton and her team for putting that together for you. So whether you're virtual or whether you're in person or whether you're a combination, you should be able to get a diversity of these activities that show that you have been an intern. And when you do things like, if you attend a parent meeting, you got a picture of you up leading a group, those pictures, those things, those agendas, those minutes, those are artifacts. If you have that as a proof, I'd write that down. I've got a picture of that activity. So I can go back and find it later and put it in my competency folio of artifacts that show that I did what I said I did. And it's really powerful for prospective employers. Here are the artifacts that you will generate, that we know that you will generate from having done your evidence work. That email permission from your principal to form a PLC, that would be an artifact. Just screenshot it, PNG. Just screenshot it. Your PLC agenda and minutes, those are artifacts, a picture of the meeting. Here we have identified the standard number of artifacts. There are others. That doesn't mean that you can only put these in your folio, but these are the ones that we're pointing out. We know that you will generate these artifacts. And then here are the open-ended things that you would do. These would be artifacts as well. And so here are those kinds of things that you would do. And here are the 7 standards, dispositions, executive dispositions that you will be assessed on. Those are those pop-up things in task string. So again, please remember this log, each semester when you finish it, you put it in your competency folio, not your DRF portfolio. You put it in your competency folio. Again, back to this internship log, that's for all of your logs when you complete the program, when you're at the end. When you finish your final competency folio, we'll show you how to move it over here to get it evaluated as well. But it will not just automatically come over. You have to physically move it over here for it to be evaluated. But here's the trick. Once you move it over here, we can't move it back. It has to be complete. So we're not going to show you how to do that now. We're going to show you how to build the folio, but we're not going to show you how to move it yet. Because as soon as I show you how to move it, we have people who move it. And then the email is mine's locked. I can't get in it and I'm not through. Well, it's done. We have to make another one now.
Dr. Lamb, would you please explain to the students that everything that they do in their internship, is as an administrator, not as a teacher. And if it's something that they would be doing as a teacher activity anyway, that is teacher leadership. It's not administrative leadership.
That's a good point, Dr. Stedman. Hopefully through doing the APTEL, you'll gain some knowledge about what teacher leadership is versus school leadership. Teacher is when you're in a teacher role and you're doing things that you would normally do as a teacher. For example, if you lead a parent meeting, if you normally lead the parent meeting as a teacher, then that would be a teacher leadership activity. We're talking about leading one as an administrator where you're in charge of the meeting, not just you had a role on the agenda. So if you had a parent meeting and you've got a role on the agenda as a teacher, that's not school leadership. But if you lead the whole meeting, that would be a school leadership activity. If you conducted a parent meeting, and just like when we look at our activities, address a large or small group of adults, that means that you're in charge of that meeting, not just you had a role on the agenda as a teacher. Participate in a teacher applicant interview session. That means that you're on the actual hiring committee. You're on the search committee, not just you sat in and looked. Direct one planning activity session. That would mean you would be in charge of a PLC, not just be a member of the PLC. You have to be in charge of the PLC. Conduct one parent conference. That would be a parent conference that you would have about a child from an administrative perspective, not about how they're doing in your classroom. Attend and participate in one IEP meeting, not as the actual teacher of the student, but as there as the LEA representative to observe. Attend a student assistance team meeting, again, not as a member of the team, but as an administrator that's working with the team. Deal with the discipline incidents with your school administrator. That means you're sitting there and you're asking questions and you're going through due process with them. And so you can see the difference here. It's fairly simple, but you need to make sure that you are fulfilling an administrative role when you are doing these activities that go on your log, that then go into your task stream competency folio, and then eventually will filter into your DRF portfolio when they are all complete, when you have all 5 or all 3, according to which program that you're in. All right. So I see there's a lot of somebody answering all of the questions in the chat. Got those, very good. All right, so this is what your task stream DRF looks like. Again, let me switch over right quick and show the 20-month folks what theirs looks like. You 20-month folks, you can see 601, you've got the app sale, 602, you have the app tail, OMA, skip cap, SIOP, you can see how that goes. School of Ed dispositions, you have the exact same things. Your pacing is just 5 semesters rather than 3. Now, you need to be, if you will pay attention, all of you, across the top here, this is the questions I normally get to start with. You can tell that the task stream site is tabbed. This is the work tab. This is where you would go to upload your work. You'd click on the app cell, it would give you this. You can see I've already uploaded one. We use the attachment button and we upload our docx, our Word document. We upload it here, and then we and then once we get it uploaded, let me move this out of the way. Let's see. We simply attach, upload from computer, add file. Save and return. And then we submit work. Got to hit that last submit work. And then that is submitted for evaluation. Now it will be locked now. You will not be able to go back and change that. It will be locked. The only way that you will ever be able to revisit that is if your evaluator sends it back for revision. That's the way that works. And it's got a little, don't forget to submit your work. Now, once they grade it, if they give you any, there'll be no comments because we don't do comments. I can't take the button out because if I do, it takes it out of everything. And you need a comments button in your competency folio. You don't need one in this DRF, but it's all or nothing. So, but you won't have anything on the comments. Scores results is where you go and you will see what you have submitted. Mine is in progress because I'm not really a student, but it will say submitted right here. And then you'll get your results. And if there's any comments, they'll be involved. They'll be you simply click on the results and it'll tell you if it says sent back for revision, it'll say that right here. And then you'll have to go in and your coach will be notified as well, and they will help you fix whatever your problem is. But we don't want very much of that. I can tell you right now. It will not go well for you if you have to get your work sent back on a regular basis. That's the reason why you have an instructor and you have a coach, and it should be ready to go when they put it in there. Now, it won't always get the highest score. We aim for accomplish, which is a 4. You might get a 3.8, you might get a 3.6 or a 3.5. But as long as we get a 3 or better, we're ready to go. Now, let me stop my share a minute here. One of the things that I get from time to time is somebody will get a 3. And they'll want to know, can I fix that and resubmit it? Well, folks, we could all do better in life if we had more time. That's the whole notion of this is the amount of time that you got. This is how well you did. When you turn something in to the superintendent, Dr. Crawford is laughing because I might have said that a time or two when I was in the central office. When we worked together a long time ago, you know, when you turn something into me, it's either good enough or it isn't good enough when we go on about our business. I don't have time to send it back to you and let you work on it some more. I gave you an amount of time and I expected it to be done every good how bad it is, and we move on from that. We can't continue to work on things. So as long as you get a 3.0, we'll move on. We will move on and we'll do better the next time. That's the best we can do. Now, if it's going to be less than a 3, we're going to have to fix it. But rarely will that happen unless you uploaded the wrong document. And sometimes, you know, we're doing the best we can to get you to a 3. You know, in the end, you are an elite group who made it into this college. But even still, some of you are better than others. But we can get, you know, if we took you, we can get you to a 3. If we have to put you on our back and carry you, we'll get you to a 3. But you know, you got to work with us. But now there's no guarantee on 4s. We want everybody to shoot for a 4. But if you as long as you get a 3, we're moving on. We can't go back and revisit these things on and on. There is a time limit on them. So that's what task stream looks like. Everything is done in Blackboard. Go ahead, you know, you can't just say, well, I'll fix it all before I put it in task stream. We don't allow you to do that. If it's not ready for task stream when you're in Blackboard, we're not going to let you go to task stream. We're going to say, well, all right, this is pretty good. Now fix it and get it ready to go to task stream. We're shooting for task stream upload from day 1. We're not using shared documents. We're not using Google. We're not using shared Word. We're not using locked PDFs. We're writing in APA 7th. Our grammar, our spelling, we're going to turn it in, check it before it ever goes to task stream, where it gets turned it in, checked again. We're going to do all that stuff. So when it goes to task stream, it's got to be perfect. We don't do any editing in task stream. Task stream is the state repository for work. And whatever it is, the only thing is if it doesn't meet the standard, they'll send it back and you got to work, you got to fix it. If there's something wrong with it. But other than that, they pay these people to evaluate these things, and that's it. They pay them one time. They don't like to see them multiple times. So don't get in that habit from the very beginning. So that's what task stream looks like. Any questions about task stream? We have anybody having any problems with YouTube? Are we using Zoom yet and YouTube? Are we having any problems again? The main thing for YouTube is make sure you have a Gmail account and you can establish a YouTube account and you can upload your recordings and then you can just distribute your links. Make sure that if you're having, nobody should be having trouble with Zoom after the last 3 years. After COVID, everybody ought to be expert on Zoom. So, you know, that's the only good thing that I can think of that's come out of the pandemic is it's not, we don't have to spend the whole night on Zoom like we used to, or 2 nights. Now everybody's more expert than I am. That's a good thing. So we're good on task stream for right now. You've got an idea, but again, you say, well, Dale, why don't you wait till next week? But again, it influences how you go about your work in Blackboard. if you know what the requirements are in TaskStream, then you know I got to fix this now in Blackboard. I can't wait till later on. So we should be good in Blackboard. We should be good with YouTube and Zoom. We know that TaskStream's coming and everything's good. The only other technology that you really got to master for this program is Qualtrics, and it is super simple. Now, Qualtrics takes the place of SurveyMonkey and Google and these different survey softwares that you use to create surveys. We use Qualtrics. Now, two reasons why we use Qualtrics. Number one, that's what we've adopted as a university. As a research emphasis is to use Qualtrics because you can validate surveys through Qualtrics. It also does your analytics for you. We don't use the full functions very much in MELS. However, if you stay with us, and a good many, hopefully, of you will stay with us through your doctoral program, that's what we use in doctoral studies. With our methodology in our doctoral studies, and even if you don't stay with us or plan to stay with us through your doctoral program, it's still a much better system to use than any of the other free softwares that are out there on the market. So let me share my screen and we'll do that. I sent you a link, it'll be in your email, to my Qualtrics shared Google Drive folder. Let me share my screen. So when you go into, always when you get through in TaskStream, log out. That's another thing I want to warn you about up front. If you time out of TaskStream, it'll lock you out for 6 hours. So do not, even if you're just, even if you're just switching, gonna be gone for 50, get in the habit of every time you leave TaskStream, log out. All right, so this is the shared folder. What is important is my Qualtrics notes right here. That's what's important. And we'll go over those in just a minute here. Let me move that out of the way. Where do you access Qualtrics? Everybody gets a Qualtrics account. And so when you log into Web Connect, you go to, you log into Gardner Web, you go to Web. There we go. In the same menu where you find your Blackboard and email, now you notice I pull mine up here. It'll let you pull your favorites up here. In that same menu, you'll see Qualtrics first time user. That'll be you. You go in and establish an account, and all you have to have is your Gardner Web email, username, and password, and you'll establish an account. You can do that at any time. And then you'll do the Qualtrics. When you go back, you just simply sign in. And here's your Qualtrics account. And simply go to projects. And you can see I've got a lot of projects going. I have a lot of doctoral students. And so when you get here, you simply want to create a project. You want to do a survey. Get started. Pretty easy. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to do, let's see what we're going to do. We're going to do one called Best Practices for Teacher Empowerment and School Leadership. This is the first survey that you'll be required to do in the APTEL later this semester for you 12-month people, next semester for you 20-month people. But we're going to go ahead and start getting familiar with how to use Qualtrics. So I'm going to copy that, and that's going to be the title of my survey. And I'm going to create that project. All right. And then I am going to go into here under look and feel and under general, and I'm going to do a header with that same title on it. and apply it. All right. And so when they get it, it's going to look like this: Gardner Webb University, best practices, teacher empowerment, and school leadership. And it's a simple little 5-question multiple choice. We've only got five questions that we're going to ask, and we're simply going to make them 2 choices. That would be no. And yes, just like that. We're going to have 5 questions like that on our survey. And I'm going to add a new question. I'm just going to copy that one. And I'm going to copy the last one each time, and I'm going to make 5. And I'm going to go over my notes with you just in a minute. It'll make sense here just in a minute. We're doing a simple 5-question. And there they are. And the first question is going to be, teachers have input on professional development offerings at the school. Copy. Good enough. And see, it will try to give you more choices. Sometimes you have to remove them like this. It is quite aggravating at times, so you have to pay attention to what you're doing. And I'll do these right quick.
Dr. Lamb, there's a question in the chat. Are the Qualtrics surveys anonymous?
Yes. That's how you, well, that's based on how we distribute them, but we'll distribute all of ours anonymously. That is correct. I'm going to show that part as we go. Okay.
Dr. Lamb, why are you copying and pasting into the questionnaire?
Because it's a lot easier. So that let me go over my notes. You just saw me do that. I'm going to publish it right quick. Look at that, expert. All right. And I can copy the link and I can send that, and somebody can take it. To distribute it, I'll go through that in just a minute. I'm going to leave it right where it is for right now. And I'm going to go to my document here, my notes, and answer some of these questions. All right. When you're building your surveys, build them first in a Word document. Do not try to build them directly into Qualtrics. Qualtrics is aggravating enough as it is. You saw it. It'll try to default over the choices that you make. And so the deal is, start with a blank, unformatted Word document. Turn off all editing, numbering, and formatting in Word. If you don't, it'll ghost back on, even though you'll copy and paste it on there and you didn't get the number. But when it comes out in survey form, it'll have 2 numbers on the same question, and they won't match, by the way. So you should always start with a blank Word document. Turn off all editing, numbering, and formatting. Do not number your questions. Do not use bold or italics or underlining. It will cause problems when it formats and sends out the survey. If you use bold or italics, sometimes it's too dark to read. Or if you underline it, it doesn't come out exactly right. Don't number your questions or you'll have double numbering on each question. Spell check and edit for grammar. That's why you use a Word document. You cannot spell check or edit for grammar inside of Qualtrics. It will not let you do that. That's why you copy and paste. Do not sit and try to type into Qualtrics. You'll make mistakes. There's no way to go back and check for mistakes. I know, I've done it. You do it in a Word document that you can spell check and edit for grammar. It'll give you those grammar suggestions. That is why you have to bring, when it goes to Qualtrics, it should be ready. Use appropriate punctuation such as commas, periods, and question mark. Qualtrics will not do that either. It does not have an editing function inside of it. Most importantly, don't use coloring or shading of any kind. Don't highlight, don't color, don't shade. And this usually occurs when you're copying and pasting from another source, especially a PDF file. It'll be dark. It'll look just a little bit dark on your screen when you're building it, and when it comes out, it'll just be black. You want to be able to read the question. Don't copy from PNGs or JPEGs. That's screenshots or pictures. Do not do that. Type them out if you have to. Do not use other word processing programs such as Notes, Pages, or anything Apple. Again, not compatible. Use Word, build your survey in Word, clean it up, edit it, format it, make sure your punctuation is good. Don't number it, don't shade it, don't color it, don't highlight it. Plain Word document that looks like this. That's what it needs to look like. Simply type those out this afternoon, and I typed them out. I copied and pasted from the template, but then I just did that and then sat underneath and typed them all out because it came off of a file and it'll just make a complete mess if it's in a table. They were in a table. You get all those lines and it's just crazy. So I simply transferred the table over to this one document here. I sat and typed them all out, and then I deleted the tables off of this so that I could just copy and paste these. So this second one here on content, be sure your survey questions match your research questions. That's mostly for my doctoral students. But again, if we're doing survey work out of the teacher working condition survey in North Carolina or advanced survey in South Carolina, make sure that the survey questions exactly match the ones that are in their survey. And so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. This is for doctoral. If you're creating a survey of your own and you're a doc student, these would be for you. Important if you're doing survey work for us, multiple choice about demographics, age, gender are arranged vertically, multiple choice are arranged horizontally for satisfaction and agreement. Don't use net promoter score unless you're doing the whole thing. That's mostly for my doc students, but you can read those. Now, distribution. When you get through, if you build your own survey, let me stop my share. If you build your own survey like I just built, you will not be able to distribute it. Let me say that again. If you build your own, you will not be able to distribute it. You will have to collaborate. That means share. You will have to collaborate it to me, D. Lamb, at Gardner Webb. I will copy, publish, and then collaborate it back to you, and then you can distribute. That is a safety check to make sure that we don't send out surveys that get us in trouble. Now, we had one in the spring. Thankfully, there was some question about her survey, but thankfully we were able to get around that. She was accused of having sent out an inappropriate survey. Well, no, it wasn't inappropriate. It was straight off the TWC, but that's what I mean. Sometimes folks, they don't like what your survey finds, and so they can't argue with what the outcome is. They argue with the process. Send an inappropriate survey. Ask those questions were slanted this way, or they weren't supposed to ask that. Well, you know, I see all of them before they go out, then there's not a problem. There is not a problem. So if I create one and send you the link to distribute, then you can distribute that link. But most of you, what I'd like for you to do is do one just like I just did. It's the same survey. Create the survey, send it to me. I'll copy it, publish it, collaborate it back to you, and then you will have your data when it comes in. So that's a great question. So now, are these surveys anonymous? The way that you distribute them determines whether they're anonymous or whether they're confidential. What is the difference between anonymous and confidential? Confidential is we know who said what, we just won't tell anybody. Anonymous is we don't know who said what. We no way to track them. And so when we go to Qualtrics right here, if I just send that link out like it is now, there's no way to track it. All right, so now we've got this survey. It's been published. Everything is good. We go back here. You can't do anything with the survey open. You have to go back to your projects. Best practices for empowerment. We click on the buttons over here at the end, very simple. And we can collaborate this thing and share it with somebody else, or we can distribute it. Now, this is what we talk about, the difference between anonymous and confidential. If we want to track data, we have to use this side over here, and we have to compose an email, and we have to build an address book. That way the data comes back to that person's IP in the address book, and we know who said what. We don't use that in MELS. We use the single reusable link over here. Just like we just saw, we copy that link, and then I can send that link to whoever I want to. I'm gonna send it to Dr. Stedman. We're gonna see if Dr. Stedman, how good he is with technology.
Because he picks on me all the time.
Well, yeah. I'll be kind. I was gonna say something, but I won't be ugly.
That's all right. That's all right, because I'll get you back.
All right. So I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to make Dr. Stedman the host, and we're going to see what happens here. I'm going to make you the host.